Hello guys, welcome back to OK Jank, another deck profile for you. This one's going to be for future card Buddyfight. Silly name for a game, I know, very childish, but extremely fun. So, this is for my Venom Dragons deck profile, which has an alternate win condition of milling your opponent out. So you basically want to get their deck down to 0 cards, and then they automatically lose and you automatically win. So just to start with Death Raider Trisilla. This is a 4 of in deck and 1's the buddy. When it enters the field, put 1 Venom Swamp from your drop into your hand. When it's destroyed, put 1 Venom Swamp from your drop into your hand. So it's just a utility. It's great, size 0, so easy to play. So that's a 5-all, a 4 in deck, and a buddy. Then on to the next, the most important card in the deck, Venom Swamp itself. I'm running 15 copies because you can play as many copies as you want, and then it's a set spell, and when a Dark Venom on your field attacks, drop the top card of your opponent's deck. So you swing in multiple times with little things, size 1s and size 0s, and then milling your opponent out for each card each time. And then when this card is destroyed, drop up to the top 4 cards of your opponent's deck into the drop zone, graveyard, whatever you want to call it. So a lot of spells and things will cycle this back from the drop, so you can destroy them multiple times. Obviously, the more you have on the field when you're attacking, milling 1, milling 2, milling 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. So you want as many on the field as you can when you're swinging, and then you want to destroy them. So there's a couple of cards which do that, which I'll show you just now. But first, into the creatures, into the monsters. So the size 2, Death Raider Orphan. Pay 1 gauge, put top card into its soul. When it enters the field, drop up to 3 cards on top of your deck and put all Venom Swamp from all of them into your hand. So it's really good because you can charge a swamp, pay it for its gauge, and then you have 1 in soul, in drop, sorry, and then he's also milling them cards into your drop which you don't need and pulling these out, which you can then destroy later on. And then at the end of the battle it attacks. If you have a Venom Swamp on your field, you destroy another card on your field. If you destroy a Dark Venom Dragon on your field, you gain 2 life and draw a card. So you can actually swing with him and destroy the swamps because they are a Dark Venom Dragon. So then that mills your opponent a couple of times, and he's got double attack, so you can do that a couple of times. Life gain's good, just keeps you in the game a little bit longer, and the draw also useful. So that's Death Raider Orphan. And the final creature, yes, we're not running many, is grade size 1, sorry, and then it's Death Raider Dismal. When this card enters the field, put 1 Venom Swamp from your drop into your hand, and then when this card is destroyed, you may destroy a Venom Swamp on your field. If you do, drop 2 cards from your opponent's deck and you gain 3 life. So when he's destroyed, you destroy one of these, your opponent's milling 6 and you're gaining 3 life. And you can get him back other ways as well. So that's it for the creatures, the monsters, and then onto the item is 4 copies of Poison Mask. You want to see this consistently. It keeps your gauge going, and so it's a quick cost. You pay 1 life. It's not that much. Abilities of all Dark Venom Dragon on your field cannot be nullified by opponent's card effects. It's okay. And then when a card on your opponent's deck is dropped by card effect, put the top 2 cards of your deck into the gauge. This ability only triggers once. It's the gauge that matters. It also, when it swings, will mill your opponent for however many how many Venom Swamps you have. So it's always, you can just swing with this at least, and then get 2 gauge as long as you've got a Venom Swamp on the field. Just, yeah, it keeps the deck going. I've thought about running it with Lost World because sometimes you can get quite a lot of gauge that you don't end up using, because a lot of things have alternate costs. such as Venom Pain. Venom Pain is running as a 4-of. Cast cost, destroy Dark Venom on your field, so you can destroy any of your creatures, or a Venom Swamp, to get that mill going. Destroy a card on your opponent's field. If you do, put the top card of your deck into your gauge and draw a card, so a bit more gauge and another draw, plus it destroys something on your opponent's field. And they can be destroyed. A lot of things now can't be destroyed by card effects, which is fairly annoying, but you can pop like set spells and things which usually don't have that. And if you do destroy a Venom Swamp for the cost, you're milling your opponent again, so it's nice. And then into the negates, running 3 Venom spell. You can only cast it during your opponent's turn. You can pay 1 life, nullify the attack. Then if you have a Venom Swamp on the field, you can put 1 Dark Venom Dragon monster from your drop into your hand, so you'll be searching out back him or Orvan, just so that you can keep pulling Venom Swamps out of your deck. So it's 3 negates there. The next negates I really enjoy, especially against creature heavy decks. Like DD and Astros and things where they're running a lot of grade 1s and 0s. You may only cast this card during an attack on your opponent's turn. Put the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck into the drop. If there's a monster among them, nullify the attack and put the top card of your deck into the gauge. So you're gaining some gauge and potentially nulling your opponent's attack. If there's a creature in the cards that you mill, it's not a guaranteed null, so don't use it all the time, and you've got to consider what decks you're against. Even if you're against something like DD and you just hit the spells, or Link Dragon even, and you just hit the spells, that's really good, because a lot of the times their spells will restand things or get them the gauge they need to continue plays. So 3-of. You can reduce it down to a 2-of and side it out for something else, but at the minute I'm finding 3 works really well. Then into the slightly more techie cards, running 1 Venom Bind. You can only cast it if you've got Dark Venom Dragon on your field, and then choose one card on your opponent's field, and it gets critical reduced by 1 for each Venom Swamp on your field. So if you have 15, if you manage to somehow do that on the field, its crit will be reduced by 15. They're not going to deal you any damage with that creature. So some decks obviously have the one big dude that sits in the middle. Yeah, they're not going to deal you any damage if you've got this. So you could side another copy of this in if you do want to take this out. Depends what you find more consistent. I just like it because it's a tech that people aren't necessarily expecting. Then I'm running 1 Million Edge, which is pay 1 life, put the top 2 cards of each fighter's deck, so you mill yourself as well, which is not a problem. If you put in Venom Swamps in, you can get them back, you can get your creatures back, and then you draw a card. That little mill is always useful just to get your opponent going, or even if you're struggling to finish your opponent and they've got 3 or 4 cards left, you do this, they draw, they can't then charge and draw, because they will be milled out. So it's always nice, no matter what point in the game you are. I usually see it turn 2 or 3, so I then get Venom Swamps in, and then I've already got the creatures in hand to pull the Venom Swamps back out with the drop. Then my final kind of tech slot is a Black Bolt Ring, which is pay 2 gauge, stand the monster on your field, and for this turn it gets power 3000. The power isn't the point. The point is that you're restanding a monster. If you're restanding like Orvan, he basically becomes a triple attacker who's destroying things, gaining your life, and drawing your cards. And you're just going to target your Venom Swamps to mill them for 16 at a time, just at the end of the battle when you destroy the swamps, not including the cards you mill on the attack declaration. So it's just a nice little text. And then the utility that I think everyone's running nowadays, 2 Buddy Help, pay 3 gauge, draw 2 cards, just for if you're not seeing the pieces but you have the gauge. Then 2 time sale, you can cast it for free if you've got 3 life or less. Otherwise it's 2 gauge and 2 life, which I think is quite expensive for a draw 2, but because you're an alternate win, your opponent will usually get you down to 3 before you need to cast this. It's a shame it's once per turn. Sometimes it'd be nice to cast it multiple times in a turn just to draw. And then the final card is 2 skill binders, pay 1 gauge, rest card with penetrate or double attack on your opponent's field. Obviously you're an alternate win, penetrate is going to hurt, double attack is going to hurt. So 2 skill binder, you see them often enough. I've never felt like I need more, so 2 skill binder. And that concludes the deck profile for my Dark Venom Dragons. It's a really fun deck to play if you can pick it up. I recommend you give it a try. You might enjoy it as much as I do. I love an alternate win con, especially in a game that's as fast paced as this. I've regularly been milling people for 30 cards in a turn. With this build, I don't know, I've never faced a mirror match, so I can't tell you how it faces, but against a lot of the other decks that people play in, really good, really good. So this is, again, the Dark Venom Dragons for Buddyfight. Hope you've enjoyed. If you've got any comments, leave them below. Thanks, bye!